Its roar is the most iconic sound that never was. Its appearance, the monster of our collective nightmares. But what the true terror of Tyrannosaurus rex wasn't its size or its teeth, but an almost supernatural sensory system, capable of detecting you from miles away. New evidence, processed by advanced AI, suggests the Tyrant King was less a rampaging brute and more a calculated, inescapable predator. Welcome to Dinosaurs Explained, where every fossil tells a story and cutting-edge science reveals the lost worlds. Today, we peel back a century of myth-making to reveal the real T-Rex. We'll use the latest paleontological data and sophisticated computer models to reconstruct not just its body, but its brain, its senses, and its world. Answering the question, what was it really like to stand in the shadow of the Tyrant King? So, if you're ready to uncover the truth behind the legend, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Your journey into the past begins now. You find yourself in the arid, sun-scorched badlands of Hell Creek, Montana. The year is 1902. Here, amongst the dust and rock, legendary fossil hunter Barnum Brown unearths something monumental. Massive vertebrae, a partial skull, and enormous limb bones, belonging to a creature of impossible scale. Back at the American Museum of Natural History, these bones create a stir of excitement and disbelief. It is the museum's president, Henry Fairfield Osborne, who in 1905 gazes upon this skeleton and bestows upon it a name that will echo through history. Tyrannosaurus rex, Tyrant Lizard King, NHD. The name itself is a masterstroke, instantly capturing the public imagination and cementing its status as prehistoric royalty. And so, the myth was born. Before the science could even catch up, T-Rex became the ultimate movie monster. Hollywood rendered it in shades of green and gray, its posture upright, its tail dragging on the ground. But as you look at the digital reconstruction forming on the screen before you, based on those very first bones, you see the first discrepancies. The monster is a caricature. The real animal hinted at even in those early fossils was something far more complex and infinitely more interesting. To build that real animal, we leave the dusty museum halls behind and step into a digital laboratory. The old, inaccurate skeleton on the screen before you dissolves, its tail-dragging posture, a ghost of past science. In its place, a new model assembles, bone by bone, generated from laser scans of the most complete specimens ever found. You watch as a powerful horizontal spine locks into place, perfectly balanced by a massive muscular tail acting as a counterbalance to its enormous head. This wasn't a slow, clumsy monster. It was an athletic, 9-ton predator built like a cantilever bridge. The biomechanical analysis begins, driven by physics engines that treat each fossil as a piece of a living machine. Its powerful hind limbs, once thought to let it chase down jeeps, are now understood differently. The simulations show it wasn't a sprinter, but its long stride made it an efficient and deceptively fast walker, capable of covering great distances and launching terrifying bursts of speed to ambush prey. And what about those famously tiny arms? The model adds layers of muscle, revealing they weren't weak at all. Capable of curling hundreds of pounds, their role is still debated, but evidence points away from them being useless vestiges. Perhaps they were used to slash at close quarters or to grip struggling prey in a final, fatal embrace. It's a wonderful reminder that in paleontology, every answer spawns a dozen new questions. Now you dive deeper, zooming in on the 1.5-meter-long skull. This is the creature's command center, and thanks to high-resolution CT scans, You can digitally peel it apart layer by layer, exploring the secrets within. The first thing our AI highlights is the enormous olfactory bulb cavity. The part of the brain dedicated to smell was immense, suggesting T-Rex navigated its world through scent. A super sniffer that could detect a carcass or living prey from miles away. Its eyes were not positioned on the side of its head like many other dinosaurs, but faced forward, granting it stereoscopic vision. You can almost feel its gaze. It wasn't the vacant stare of a simple reptile, but the calculated depth-perceiving focus of a precision hunter. Internal scans of the inner ear reveal a cochlea tuned for low-frequency sounds, the deep, ground-shaking footsteps of a 10-ton triceratops. It heard its world in bass. But all these senses served one primary weapon, its bite. As the simulation runs a finite element analysis, the skull on screen glows with color-coded stress patterns. The model confirms the nasal bones were fused for strength, while other parts of the skull had slight mobility, or kinesis, allowing it to absorb the incredible shock of its own power. The final numbers are staggering. A bite force of over 35,000 newtons, the strongest of any terrestrial animal ever. You watch the simulated jaws close on a femur, and the bone doesn't just break, it explodes. This was a bite designed to pulverize bone, accessing the rich marrow inside. Finally, the model renders the skin. We move beyond speculation, guided by rare fossilized skin impressions. They reveal a mosaic of fine, non-overlapping, bead-like scales. But what about feathers? Its earlier cousins like Tyrannosaurus were covered. The current evidence suggests a complex picture. While hatchlings may have had a downy coat, it's likely that an adult T-Rex was primarily scaly, perhaps retaining some decorative filaments along its head, neck, or back. The blueprint is now complete. A hypersensory, bone-crushing, incredibly sophisticated living weapon. But a weapon is only as good as its battlefield. So now our digital lab dissolves, and you are transported through time. You materialize in the humid air of the late Maastrichtian age, 66 million years ago. This is the Hell Creek Formation of North America, the final kingdom of the dinosaurs. Forget the barren landscapes of popular fiction. This is a lush, subtropical coastal plain. You feel the warm, damp air on your skin, thick with the scent of wet earth, cycads, and blooming magnolias. The air hums with insects, and through the dense forests of ferns and conifers, you hear the distant calls of strange birds and the heavy tread of giants. From a ridge overlooking a forested floodplain, you see an adult female Tyrannosaurus rex, 40 feet of predatory perfection, surveying her territory. The morning sun glints off the subtle reptile-like texture of her skin. She is still, but her entire being is processing information. Her head turns slowly, nostrils flaring as they analyze a billion chemical signals on the breeze, her ears swiveling to catch the low-frequency rumble of a herd on the move. An animal of this size is a prisoner to its metabolism. It requires an immense number of calories to survive. The pressure to find food is constant. Her target comes into view, a herd of Dinosaurs, large, duck-billed herbivores, grazing peacefully near a riverbed. They are massive, but vulnerable if caught unaware. The hunt begins, and it is a masterpiece of strategy, not a frantic chase. You watch as the tyrant uses the landscape to her advantage, moving with surprising stealth through a thicket of ferns, her dappled skin providing a degree of camouflage. She is patient, an ambushed predator calculating the perfect moment to strike. Then she explodes from cover. It's a terrifying burst of acceleration, the ground shuddering under her charge. The Dinosaurus herd panics, but it's too late. The Tyrant closes the distance in seconds, ignoring the smaller individuals and focusing on a large adult at the edge of the group. She doesn't just nip at its heels, she brings her entire arsenal to bear. The bone-crushing jaws you saw in the simulation now become a brutal reality. She lunges, clamping down on the herbivore's hip with unimaginable force, shattering the pelvic bone instantly. The prey collapses, its flight ended before it truly began. The feeding is just as efficient. Her powerful neck muscles, anchored to her robust spine, allow her to rip and tear 1,000-pound chunks of flesh and bone from the carcass. This brings us to a classic debate. Was T-Rex a hunter or a scavenger? The answer, as you can see, is a resounding both. She was a supremely capable hunter, but like almost every apex predator today, she was also an opportunist who would never pass up a free meal. The world of the tyrant is one of brutal efficiency. As dusk begins to settle, she eats her fill, the rest of the ecosystem waiting for its turn. That world is a complex web of life and death, and the tyrant, for all her power, is just one thread, albeit the most dominant one. You're now looking at the Hell Creek ecosystem through a wider lens, a dynamic stage where Tyrannosaurus rex plays the lead role. It is the definition of a keystone species. By preying on the vast herds of herbivores, she acts as a crucial regulator, preventing overgrazing and ensuring the stability of the entire environment. Her very presence dictates the flow of energy. A single kill, like the Dinosaurs, provides sustenance not just for her, but for a whole host of smaller creatures. You watch as nimble dromaeosaurs like a Raptor dart in to snatch scraps, while early mammals scurry from the undergrowth, and soaring pterosaurs circle overhead, waiting for their chance. But not all prey is created equal. The existence of T-Rex drove one of the most incredible evolutionary arms races in Earth's history. Now you see the tyrant encounter her most famous adversary, Triceratops. This is no helpless herbivore. It is a 10-ton walking fortress. Its massive, bony frill protects its neck, and its 3-foot-long brow horns are lethal weapons. Fossil evidence makes this ancient duel stunningly real. We have found T-Rex bite marks gouged into Triceratops frills, and healed T-Rex bones with puncture wounds that perfectly match the horns of their prey. This was a battle of equals, a high-stakes confrontation where the predator could easily become the victim. If Triceratops was a fortress, then Ankylosaurus was a living tank. You watch the tyrant cautiously circle this bizarre creature, low to the ground, and covered from head to tail in thick, bony armor plates called osteoderms. A direct bite is useless, and at the end of its tail, it wields a massive club of solid bone, a sledgehammer capable of shattering a T-Rex's leg with a single, well-aimed swing. The tyrant's only chance is not brute force, but intelligence. She must somehow harry the Ankylosaurus, trying to flip it onto its back to expose the soft, unarmored underbelly, a task that is far from guaranteed. This intricate dance with its prey shatters the myth of a simple, rampaging monster, and the complexity doesn't end there. T-Rex wasn't always the solitary hunter of our imagination. You zoom in on another part of the floodplain, where fossil trackways and bonebeds suggest a startling possibility: social behavior. Multiple T-Rex skulls show deep, healed scars on their faces, injuries clearly inflicted by the teeth of another T-Rex. These weren't necessarily fights to the death, but could be evidence of complex social interactions, disputes over territory, mates, or dominance, painting a picture of a creature that communicated and competed with its own kind in a sophisticated way. It wasn't a monster. It was an animal, a highly successful predator at the absolute peak of its reign, perfectly adapted to the world it ruled. But no reign lasts forever. As you watch the tyrant, perfectly adapted to the world it ruled. A shadow falls, not from the clouds, but from the cosmos. 66 million years ago, a catastrophic asteroid impact brought the Cretaceous period to a fiery, abrupt end. The lush floodplains that had forged this ultimate predator were wiped away in a geological instant, and with them, the Tyrant King vanished from the living world. Its thunderous footsteps silenced forever. For millennia upon millennia, its story lay silent, locked away in stone. Yet its echo was too powerful to remain buried. The legacy of Tyrannosaurus rex is twofold. In our culture, it is the undisputed icon of the dinosaur age, the gateway drug to science that fires the imagination of every child who gazes upon its skeleton. It is the ultimate monster, the ultimate anti-hero, a timeless symbol of nature's awesome power and profound fragility. While, and in science, its legacy is one of perpetual discovery. The journey you have taken today, from the first dusty bones to sophisticated AI simulations, is a testament to the power of human curiosity. Every fossil we unearth, every new technological tool we invent, peels back another layer of the mystery. The T-Rex you've seen here, this intelligent, hypersensory, socially complex animal, is a far cry from the tail-dragging monster of a century ago, and it is likely just another step towards an even more nuanced truth we have yet to fully comprehend. Future artificial intelligence will run simulations of entire Hell Creek ecosystems, revealing intricate social dynamics and hunting strategies we can currently only guess at. Advanced chemical analysis may one day unlock the secrets of its metabolism from microscopic traces left within its fossilized bones. The search will continue, not just for more skeletons, but for these fainter, more profound echoes of its life. The Tyrannosaurus on your screen fades, replaced by the brilliant question mark that drives all science forward. It stands as a magnificent reminder that the past is never truly gone, as long as we have the courage and the tools to keep exploring, ensuring that the Tyrant King's reign, in our ever-expanding understanding, will never really end.